soon as she hits record. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Lisa Parento here. I'm from beautiful Cape Cod. I'm very thrilled to be able to welcome everybody to another Mastermind Monday for the New England region of RRC. As we've been unrolling our new schedule for 2021, the third week of the month for the most part, unless we have a holiday, which I think we may have in this month, we are doing a member focus, which is very exciting. It gives us an opportunity for a couple things. One is to really continue to meet people in our 6-state region. You may or may not know we are the only region in the country in the RRC family, and we have 6 states. So we're always looking for how can we connect each other, how can we learn more about each one of the states. So Karina thought, well, why don't we use Membership Focus Monday to start to feature members in different states. So here we are in this first week, and as we were just talking very briefly before, we always seek to the 3 legs of our RRC stool. The first leg being education. How do we raise our game? How do we continue to become better realtors? How do we share best practices with each other? So that's something that we certainly are working on in Mastermind Monday. How do we continue to network when we're living in a virtual world? How can we come together more frequently? How can we see each other? Good morning, Nora. And so this is an opportunity. And then thirdly, and importantly also is how can we continue to grow our referral network within RRC? When you refer to an RRC member, they are at the top of their real estate game. And you always, even if you don't know them personally, you have a level of confidence that you're handing your clients off to another amazing realtor. So this morning, I would love to first say hi to our part of our leadership team who's here, Christine McClellan, who is our official CTO on communications. We have Karina Robles, who I'm going to introduce a little bit more in a sec, who is our membership chair, and Nora Lynch, who just joined us, is our education chair. So they are our 3 unbelievable members of our leadership team this year. So on Member Focus Monday, Karina Robles, I'd like to turn the mic over to you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm very excited about today. I looked into our guest, and like I was just mentioning to her earlier, the words longevity and legacy stood out for me in knowing about her. And I want to introduce Celia Almonte. Almonte, right? Celia?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't kill the name. And Celia has a lot of experience and knowledge in real estate. She served on a local, state, and national level associations and numerous committees as well. She holds not just her CRS, she also has a GRI designation and her SRES designation. And Celia, one of the things you and I spoke about yesterday was I asked you, when did you get licensed in real estate? And you said to me, 1986, you became a realtor. Is that correct?
It's a long time. But I still love it.
Yeah, you still love it?
I do.
So Celia, why and how did you get started in real estate? That's our first question. What got you into real estate in 1986?
Why and how did I get into real estate?
Oh,
did you say? No, wait a minute. I can't hear you.
I said, why and how did you get started in real estate?
Oh, I was changing careers. Okay. In fact, I worked in the healthcare field for many years, and I loved what I was doing, but they had a reorganization, so I lost my job. And I had to find a new career when I grew up. And it turned out that I remember that one of the things that I did in my early years in the Department of Medical Education, where we recruited doctors for training, I helped and assisted the incoming doctors to find housing. And I established a little housing bureau within the department. And so that was one of the things that I focused on. And I wasn't a realtor at the time. I wasn't getting paid for that, but I helped a lot of people find their housing. So that's how I decided to explore real estate. I explored a lot of different avenues, mostly in the enterprising areas. And I decided to study for the exam, and I did pass it the first time because I knew I had to do it. I had to find a new career. And here it is now going on 35 years later. I'm still in real estate, my second career. And I love it too.
Awesome.
And
And for those that I did not mention, but she is from Rhode Island. So today we are going to be putting Rhode Island on our spot. So
I
we're very
see,
excited. Yes. And
I
Celia,
see one of my very dear friends, Barbara Jackalinser, is on today. Hi, Barbara.
so Celia, the second question that I have for you is, what made you decide to get your CRS designation?
Well, I've always believed in education. And I feel when I got into real estate in the early years, I just I felt inadequate at the beginning because I just felt that I wasn't knowledgeable enough. And I mean, I was very secure in my other, field because, I had learned, I had a lot of experience. So from the start, when I started in real estate to the time that I got my CRS, I was continually taking courses. And I got my GRI. I started that the first week that I was in real estate. And then like I said, I continued with taking courses, even out of state, within the state, because I was working in a company that did not have an educational training program. So I had to learn on my own, more or less. And also by going into the office every day and listening to the people that were there who were very, I should say, very established. And so I was like a rookie there. And I just felt that I needed to learn quickly. And so I explored different things, and I realized that the CRS designation was the highest designation that one could receive. And of course, the requirements were very tight too, I remember in those years. And it took a while. You had to sell so many millions of dollars worth of business, and you had to take a lot of different courses, which I didn't mind doing. And I got my CRS, and I have maintained that designation, and I don't ever want to lose that. And I've maintained the GRI too. Well, the GRI, once you have it, you don't have to do anything. And I have the SRES, but I have also taken all the other courses, like, the buyer agency and other designations, but I don't list it on, and I don't continue, the paying the dues every year on those. But I have all that education behind me, and I like to continue every year with my knowledge.
And I think with your reply, you did also answer the challenges, and it's safe to say that in the early years of your career, the challenge was that the broker didn't have enough education, so you sought education. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, what do you think?
Excuse me for one sec, guys. Celia, if you could, somehow your camera's moving around a whole lot, it's gonna make the video kind of tough. Are you?
Yeah. Okay, I have it on my lap right now.
Yeah, that's not good. If you could put that back on the table.
Because if I put it on the table here, if I get closer, let me see.
Just move the screen down a little bit. That should do it for you.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Okay.
No problem. So yeah, of course, like I said, the second question that I was going to ask was, what were the early challenges in your real estate career, and how did you push through them? I think we just got the answer from that. You sought yourself education. You felt like education was important.
If you could speak a little louder.
Get closer. So you felt like education was important for you to grow, correct?
I just couldn't make out what you said right now.
Education was important for you to grow, for your career to grow?
Yes, yes.
Is that correct? Yes. So what do you think sets you apart in your profession?
What do I think is the most part of my...
Sets you apart in your profession?
Well, I have, my standards of excellence are very high for myself, and I expect to give everyone else the same standards that I have. You know, I will work as hard as I can. I will do, and I always tell my clients, I said, I'm here with you now, and I want to be a realtor for life. And I keep, you know, I tell them they can contact me anytime. I said, once we have a closing, it doesn't mean that's the end. You can feel free to contact me. And I've had my clients contact me throughout the years and many years later, you know, asking me questions. And I enjoy doing that.
That's wonderful. Celia, so you've been a CRS designee since 1994, right? How do you feel that this designation has helped grow your business? And also, this is a two-part question. And also, what RRC training has been important to you that you continue to take to grow your business during these difficult markets?
Well, I feel that the CRS designation has been very important because I feel that they have some of the finest educators and wonderful content. The classes are superb. They're the best. And I just feel that continuing one's education is very, very important.
Definitely.
And did I answer the full, what's the second part?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It's just obviously, you know, you've been licensed in 1986, a designee since 1994. You've experienced different markets, correct? And it's safe to say, you know, and you're still here. And that my question was like, what was one of the trainings that you feel that helped you, obviously, that you've taken with as a designee that has
Well,
continued that engine going?
I try to keep in touch with my clients as best I can. You know, I do send out some mailings. I'm not, I'll be honest with you, I'm not doing the social media, and I know I should. But, you know, I started out in the days when we didn't even use the computers as much. They used to have the listing book that came out 2 weeks after it was published. Well, by the time it came out, it was 2 weeks outdated. And that was a busy time when real estate was hot in 1986. So if you tried to show anything, it was already pending, you know. So
Because it was a book. Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't social media. It wasn't a quick,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Here's
But
the
you know,
link.
the thing is, I've had to reinvent the wheel. I've learned, you know, the computers, and I've done, you know, very well with them. I even do dot loop. I don't know if any of you use dot loop. And sometimes dot loop can be a little bit complicated for clients and all. But I've taken to that. So you know, the technology has been a very important part of this growing too. And I mean, and I remember one of the owners of one of the former companies I worked in had told us many years ago, he said, if you're not technologically oriented, you're going to be out of business. So I knew I had to learn. And yeah, I think the technology has helped a great deal too.
I want to just touch on something that you said, Celia, if I may. You mentioned about not being very involved with social media. And I think it's a really important point to bring up. I have a colleague from a past brokerage I was at who's young, very, very successful. I mean, he's one of those kids that was, that trained at his aunt's hip or whatever, who's a very big successful realtor, owns a big brokerage. And he has just been, you know, working it for a very long time. And he does not really use social media. You know, he's kind of that generation that they're too young to use Facebook. They think it's so like ridiculous. Their parents are on it, so they're not going to possibly be using Facebook. And I don't even know if he's really involved in very many other social media platforms. And I think it reminds me that it's important to know that not everybody is going to be using that as a technique. And it also reminds me that back to basics is something, those of us that have shiny object syndrome, SOS, and I will admit to having shiny object syndrome, we're always on to our next thing, but it's going to do all this stuff. And we forget about the basics of picking up this thing and you can't see because I have my virtual screen there, but the phone, I was picking up my phone, and actually making phone calls. So could you speak a little bit about that back to basics things and how, you know, what you might share with us about some of those basics that you do versus, you know, all the shiny objects that we, some of us pursue?
Well, I work for a wonderful company, Residential Properties, that we have an IT department. We have a great support system too. So they're always coming up with new things for us too. We do have a fabulous website. We're not allowed to put any inferior photos online at all. We have to hire a professional photographer, which I have no objection to. We have we have a few people in the company, and now we have things like we have videographers on board. So, you know, when I take a listing now, you know, I have them do everything, you know, the photos, the Matterport, the floor plans, the video, you know, and so that is a great thing. And also we have what we call the CRM program, where we can send out mailings regularly to. I'll be honest, sometimes I'm a little remiss with that, but I know that this year, I noticed even during COVID, I learned a lot about the meetings, you know, online, the virtual meetings. I mean, that's something I didn't do a lot of before, but we're doing them. I don't initiate them, but I attend the meetings and webinars too. So I do that. And I do realize I need to get on with the social media too. And I will. That's one of my goals this year, to do that. And I did join Facebook one time just to see what my nephew and his wife were doing, traveling to different parts of the world. I wanted to see the photos, but I don't always check it. And then my colleagues, my younger colleagues, they signed me up on Instagram, and I said, oh, this is great, but I didn't continue with that. I will. There are certain things that I'm very intense about, and then other things I may let them fall by the wayside, but I'll get back on track.
That's fun. Celia, I have one question for you. With all your experience in real estate and throughout the years and many markets, obviously, I know that you and I spoke yesterday, and you said definitely that you are very proud of your CRS designation. You mentioned that it's one of, the one that you continue to, maintain. You do the maintenance courses, you take the trainings with RRC to continue to have your credits and renew it. So with that being said, my question to you is, I'm still new in this industry. I'm like 8 years in, right? So I have a long way to go from what you've been in the years. But I always like to pick at people that has been there and done it, right, at their brain. So my question is, what advice do you give to the younger generation of real estate professionals to have the success that you have had in your career, right, and the longevity that you've had? Because to be in real estate for 36 years, that means that you've done something right along the way. So what advice do you give?
I would advise anyone getting into real estate to make sure they take the courses, get their GRI right away, and continue on, and get the different designations, but try to get the CRS. To me, or the CRB, if you're a broker, that is very important, because it's so important. Great learning experiences too, because going out selling real estate, especially in this kind of a market, I mean, you're an order taker if you have a buyer and all, but when you get into a difficult market, you have to know what you're doing. And it also keeps, I think, by being, I feel that knowledge is power. Okay, I'm not a power hungry person, but I feel if I'm not knowledgeable, I just cannot make a statement about anything. I have to have something to back it. So I would recommend that, try to, sell the real estate. You need to do that, but get those courses behind you. and continue them on an ongoing basis. I mean, I collected so many different, in those days, they used to give us the CDs and other things too, the tapes. I had loads of them. I had like a whole cupboard full of things. I finally disposed of them because they're kind of outdated. And I've taken those courses that are like 14 weeks, and you meet every week. There was one called Sweat Hogs. That was fun, but very intense. And we had to accomplish something every week. We had to get listings every week. And oh my God, what pressure! But I did it. There were other programs that I've taken, where they're like 2-day courses. I've gone out of town to and collected more stuff. Oh, another thing I always recommend is going to the National Association of Realtors convention, and then CRS. I mean, the resident now it's called the Residential Council. They have wonderful speakers there and courses. I mean, whenever I hear that these speakers are on, I remember like going to the convention, and then if they were coming into town, I'd make sure that I'd go to hear them again. But that's a wonderful thing to do. I haven't been to any of the Residential Council meetings, but I would like to do that sometime too.
Once we get back on Facebook.
It's nice to network with people from out of state,
We miss
make
it. Yeah.
wonderful contacts.
And a little bit about you as well for those that have just joined us. Celia is a CRS designee realtor from Rhode Island. And Celia, it says here in your biography that you are lifelong Rhode Islander, right? Is how you say it? And
Yes.
that you've lived there on the east side since 1970.
I love it. And I've traveled a lot. I've traveled throughout the years and, to different parts. I used to travel abroad a lot at one time. And then I started traveling around the US, and I love Rhode Island. I love a lot of the places I've visited, but I'd like this to be my home. I'm not leaving.
So you are very familiar with Rhode Island. So you know Rhode Island from like the back of your hand, right?
And Rhode Island is small enough so you can work most of the state. And I even have a mass license, so I can do the areas close by. I don't usually go as far as Boston, although I go to Boston. Well, I used to go quite frequently, but I know what I don't know. That's another thing that I would tell anybody getting into the business. Know what you don't know, because you want to keep yourself away from the legal people. You don't want to get into trouble.
Yeah, definitely. So Celia, thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna leave it on to Lisa and our
Well,
guests as
thank you very much for inviting me. I mean, I'm honored, because I'm usually not a speaker, and I thought, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, but I was happy to do it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying yes, and you got to give credit where credit's due. You are someone who's been in this industry for many years, and we can learn from you. The fact that I know that if I need someone in Rhode Island, I have a fellow designee that that knows Rhode Island, very well, and I can trust my clients with you. So I look forward to in the future meeting you in person.
And it's so nice
if
meeting
anybody
you
else has a
all.
question.
So nice. And thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Celia. It was really wonderful. We just love what you had to share with us about sort of going old school, about the importance of really connecting at events, especially NAR on a national level. I think everybody on the call certainly agrees with that. And just so you know, Celia, our next RRC celebration event is in Lake Tahoe in August. So you could maybe think about putting that on your calendar. Well, as of right now,
oh gosh,
the 18th, we're all going to go to Lake Tahoe. Most of us have never been there, and we're very looking forward
I've never been either.
So we're looking forward to that for sure. And I know that I saw Nelson's eye continuing to shake his head and applaud at days before the computer. Of course, I actually sold back then too. So, but also the Sweat Hogs thing, everybody was very excited. You know, we definitely have lots of realtors who've been in the trenches along with you, and we really do appreciate that longevity and legacy that you allow, you know, for all of us. So for sure. Before I open it up for additional comments, I just want to mention that next week on March 1st, we have Katie Clancy, who actually is from beautiful Cape Cod, and she'll be speaking. She's a national speaker and just a real spitfire. She'll be speaking on 8 ways to beat burnout and make more money in real estate. And then the following week on President's Panel, I have invited Richard Waystack, our immediate past president, who's also from Cape Cod. Not that we only have Cape Cod people,
Okay.
but he will be speaking. You know, he became president of our national, National Residential Real Estate Council last year. And then a month into, you know, thinking he was going to be going to South Africa and traveling the world and Asia. And as we've been expanding, all of a sudden the world got hit with a global pandemic. And so you know, he was part of really pivoting at a very high level from the very beginning to how to serve members virtually and do it in a way that brought some certainty and some real leadership. And so he's going to speak to us about the lessons that he learned in that leadership journey. And I think that will also be a great session. And then we have an event this week. Chris Bird is going to be sharing with us how we could save some money for sure, but it's a 1-day tax class. But you know, Chris, he's going to be bringing us up to date on everything that's possible for us through the tax code changes that happened last year. And if you also know Chris, you'll know you probably will end up laughing and learning an awful lot. This is going to be an amazing day this week. And then I wanted to mention on the 25th of March, just put it in a save the date. Ann Enos from Rhode Island, who is our special events chair, is doing another one of those cross-border selling classes. So it is a Massachusetts, Rhode Island class. They've done them in the past. Cheryl DiGirolamo and Ann were instrumental in creating that. Very successful. I think the first one we had over 125 people at, and you know, so that is amazing. Anyone who is dual licensed or considering becoming dual licensed, it's a panel of people that will really help you move that along. That is March 25th. So tons going on. Chris Bird this week, Mastermind Mondays the next couple of weeks. We've got the cross-border selling class, and we're continuing to work on bringing some more value to you guys. So wonderful to see everyone today. Anyone have any questions for Celia or just general comments they'd like to make about old school real estate or anything you can think about? I know I can't wait for Chris Bird this week. That's Thursday.
Thank you.
Yay for old school real estate from an old realtor.
Hi. How are you?
Just fine, Celia. How are you?
Hi.
Just a quick follow-up plug on Celebration. I had to sport the background a little
Oh,
bit.
excellent. Thank you.
I love your celebration there.
But I was gonna say, if you are thinking of
I was going to ask you
Celebration,
about that.
to book the hotel room now, because you can always cancel within 3 or 4 days, but that's always the one. You want to make sure that you've got a room. Flights are always easy to find.
There's also a discount going on. We're going to have a discount code, and I think it's like I don't know. We'll set it out there. There's one discount code. It's NER 2020. We'll send it out, but there is a discount code for registration, which takes $50 off. We just found out this week on this
That's
last week
great.
in our president's call.
Great.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get that out for everybody, and we're all hoping it's going to be one of the first in person. We'll probably all go crazy having our first in-person event. I mean, masks, I'm sure, but by August, let's all believe that most of us in the country will be vaccinated. So that will be a good thing and a good time. So with that, it's just about 12:30. Anyone else have any additional questions, comments? Nora, did you want to chime in? Did I do a good job?
You did a great enough job. So thank you. Looking forward to Chris Bird this week.
Oh,
and
I know.
so very exciting.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Nice to
you.
see
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you
Thank you
again.
all.
Have a
Nice
great
to see
week.
you.
Good one.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you
Take
next
care.
week with Katie Clancy. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.